Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had quite the draft, not in terms of actually drafting players, we only had 3 picks, but we did make quite a bit of trades. We made I think 2 at least, but one of them was a pretty big blockbuster because we decided we needed to shake up this team a little bit after the lack of success in the playoffs the last few years. So we brought in this Jokela guy from the Colorado Avalanche, so he's going to be a very nice complementary piece to have alongside Brunstrom likely. And then our defensive core is starting to come together quite a bit because we do got Del Monte and Kitchuk who are on the uprise. Also Emiliano Hutton, who is going to be probably starting in the AHL this coming season, and he should be finding himself in the NHL lineup maybe halfway through the year, who knows. But our defensive core is starting to come together again, which is really nice. We also didn't obviously have our forward core, which is pretty much the exact same as it's been for quite some time. Obviously with some of the younger guys getting in and getting more of a chance, so guys like Martins, for example, Gustafsson getting a better chance, Zubras. So it should be an exciting season ahead for this team, and yeah, very excited to see how far we could get this year. Hopefully we can get pretty far in the playoffs because we are going to be a playoff team likely. It's just all about actually making do with our chance and getting at least to the conference finals. I want to get another Stanley Cup though, because obviously we are kind of running low on time in this series, because I think we only have maybe 7 or 8 more seasons left of this franchise mode, maybe a little bit more than that, but we are probably into the final 10 years, which is kind of crazy at this point. So, and also we do want to get Asher Vance the Stanley Cup before he ends up retiring, because he is 31, which means he could play for another 5 years. He could play for another 9-10 years, who knows. But still, I am kind of weary about the fact that he might randomly just retire out of nowhere at 36, 37. And obviously we want to get him as much cups as possible. So that's pretty much the goal with this team at the moment. Now, before we get into our free agent signings, because we're going to make a couple free agent signings, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one, or well, actually both of them are from Michael Dost. The first part of his comments is, I like the deals you made, just not sold on Howden and Net though. Is there any way to see if there's an 82 to 86 overall goaltender that is great in the playoffs but under the radar? And no, there really isn't, but I did mention to him that I was thinking maybe we could sign Nedek Pozo, and we could pretty much use him as a third string goaltender in a sense, because basically at the moment our goaltending situation, it's getting much better, I would say, because we have Howden. He's a pending UFA. Likely he's gone though because Blackburn's here. We also do have Hugh Way. And then we also have Tyubkin for medium elite goalies. And then there's also Marsh, who is kind of a wild card goaltender. We don't know how good he's going to end up being, but we do have a good chunk of goalies in our system. But we are basically going to sign Okposo as a third string goaltender, so he won't play probably at all during the regular season. But he will maybe get a chance to play in the playoffs because we know he's a good playoff goaltender. So I'm hoping that kind of transpires with our team as well, because he's been good with Edmonton. He's been good with Bakersfield in the AHL. He's been good with Montreal. He's won multiple cups, so I think bringing him in will give this team a little bit of leadership in terms of goaltending, and hopefully he does really well in net if we get the chance to play him in the playoffs, because who knows, maybe Howden will do really good this year, maybe he won't. And then also there's Blackburn we could use, there's Hugh Way we could use potentially in the playoffs this coming year. Also Tyubkin's probably going to get a good amount of growth, my guess, so he might end up getting a chance to play as well. So we might have 5 goalies we could play in the NHL playoffs this coming year, which would be awesome. And then obviously Marsh is not going to be signed just yet, but I think we're going to sign Pozo to do that. And then yeah, basically Michael said, I like that idea as Howden needs to be pushed in the playoffs, and I don't think the backup coming up from the AHL could be trusted over Pozo, which, I mean, it's kind of up in the air if we could trust him or not, because he has had some really good numbers in the AHL, but then again, the AHL team's been stacked for quite some time. You can see his regular season numbers are pretty solid in the AHL, but playoffs the last few years, he's been pretty damn good as well, with a 9-10, 9-11 save percentage. The goals against this last year in the playoffs was really good. He nearly won a Calder Cup, so I hope this guy could have a really good playoffs if he ends up getting a chance to play in the playoffs or the regular season. Obviously, he's going to be our backup, so it's going to be interesting to see what he could do there. I can't offer him an extension already, but I was planning on to maybe doing that. I am going to give already an extension to Hugh Way though, because I was looking and he wants a 2-way deal, so I am going to sign him up for 2 years. Actually, wait, expire status UFA. That's why he wants a 2-way deal. No, you know what? I'm going to leave that for now. But likely we're going to be running Hugh Way and and Blackburn once Howden's gone, because I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to re-sign him. So there is that, and there is one thing I also want to do before we get to free agency, and basically since we made that trade for Jokela, we do want to invest in Jokela heavily in a sense. Obviously, it is a little bit of a risk to do this because Jokela has been a bit more of a streaky defenseman, but I do think I need to lock him up because he's an 86 overall, right? He's going to eventually demand quite a bit of money and want to go to the free agent market. So right now we're already going to do the 85% trick on a 6-year deal, which I already went ahead and calculated how much it would be for a 6-year deal, and it's 8.735. So this might be a massive overpayment if he doesn't play good with our team this year, but I'm banking on the fact that he's going to be good with our team this year because of the fact we have Asher Vance and all that stuff, so he should be able to set those guys up. So 8.75 for the next 6 years for Jokela, and we'll see if he accepts that contract extension. I think it's a good deal based on the way the market's trending in terms of salaries, because even, for example, Len Morris, who's an 82, he wants like only $2 million less than that technically. So for 4 more overall points, why not, right? Like, I'm okay with losing like Morris eventually because we do have also like Emiliano Hutton, like I said, in the system. So I think this is a great add for us if we could get Jokela on that good of a deal for 6 years till he's 32. And then, yeah, he should be able to do decently with this team because we look at his attributes, for example, he's got the offensive awareness, the passing, the defense is also really good. So I feel like he's the perfect two-way defenseman to lock up for that type of term. So hopefully he signs that extension with us because that would be good, because I feel like he's going to have one really good year if he doesn't sign that extension with us. And then he's going to obviously want to just go to free agency right away because he is a UFA. So hopefully he accepts that deal. And then we're going to get into our free agent signings, which are nothing in spectacular. Obviously, we're going to be signing Ned Pozo, which is pretty much our big free agent signing this offseason, just as, like I said, a third-string goaltender. We are only going to be signing him to a 1-year deal, though, because obviously we do have a lot of goalies in the system that I would rather get chances to. But I want to bring in Ned and see if he's able to be that playoff goaltender for us. We're going to give him a little bit more money just because, who knows, maybe another team will come into the fold. But 1 year at 2.3, I'm okay with giving him that, obviously. And, yeah, if he does really good for us in the playoffs, if he gets a chance and wins us a Stanley Cup, that'll be a good signing. So there's Ned Pozo. And we're also going to sign a depth forward and a depth defenseman. So, yeah, not too huge of signings, but there is this one depth defenseman I'm looking at is actually pretty good. And the only problem is the Dallas Stars are also interested in. Dallas is just coming off that Stanley Cup win, so it might be a little bit of a negotiation with him. I hope that this guy wants to sign with us, but his name is Artem Glebov. He's only 23. He is a UFA. I do not know why the Ottawa Senators didn't bring him back. He was a second rounder. He had some really good years in the AHL, as you could see, in terms of offense. And there's his attributes. He doesn't have the best offensive awareness, but his passing is really good. So I think he might be a perfect depth defenseman for us. And look at this. He also fits all defensive pairings. So that's a really big win, I'd say, for a depth defenseman. So I am going to give him a 1 year. He wants 2 years. And then you'd be a UFA. I guess I could do that. I guess I could, because Emiliano Hutton eventually will be in the top 6. Maybe we let go of Len Morris coming off season. Let me give him a little bit more money as well, just to hopefully compete with the Dallas Stars, because I feel like the Dallas Stars, he might want to go there just because they just won a Stanley Cup. And obviously we want to prove to him that we are more than just a second round team. We are a team that could go very far. So let's see if he'll accept a 2 year at 1.1. Worst comes to worst, we could easily trade him away probably at the upcoming draft in the next season. So there's that. And then the next piece is actually kind of an interesting one. So I was looking for like a depth forward, and I found somebody decent. And the really cool thing is he actually played with Ned Pozo in Bakersfield with the Edmonton Oilers. That being none other than this, what was his first name? Preston? No, Phil. Phil Riley. This guy is only a bottom 6. He's a 78, but he was a former first-round pick. He also has some pretty good attributes. The interesting thing about Phil Riley is he hadn't played in NHL season, and this was his first season last year, and he picked up 30 points in the span, which is pretty good. You also look at his shorthanded points, 3 goals shorthanded and 5 shorthanded points as a rookie. That's actually pretty nice. He also doesn't take a lot of penalty minutes. So I do like that quite a bit. His AHL numbers have been pretty damn good, and then he finally got an opportunity after almost 10 seasons to play in the NHL. So I like his story quite a bit, and it'd be kind of cool to see him as a Stanley Cup champion if we get that chance. So I will bring in Phil Riley as a depth option for this team. We'll just give him the 1 year at 1.8. It's a bit expensive, but it's a depth forward that we kind of drastically need. So hopefully he's that type of guy for us. He also has okay face-off stats too, which is a good thing. 79 on the draws, so he might be able to win some draws, which is good because obviously some centers don't really win face-offs, and we need guys that can win face-offs because face-offs are very important. So those are going to be our 3 signings this offseason. So the big one obviously is just Jokela's contract extension. Will he accept a 6-year extension? And then hopefully the rest of the guys accept, especially Glebov. If Glebov does not accept, then there is a guy that I'm looking at as a fail-safe option as a depth defenseman, but he's not as good. So I really hope that Glebov will decide to come to us instead of Dallas. Hopefully Dallas doesn't steal anything from us again, because obviously they beat us in the second round last year, I think. I can't remember always, but let's see if these guys accept. Hopefully they do, especially Jokela on that 6-year extension. That would be a great piece to extend for that amount of time, I think. Obviously, it could be a very big overpayment if he doesn't play good with us this year, but he should be able to get traded if he doesn't live up to those expectations, my guess. So we'll see what he does. And Phil Riley has accepted, so Phil Riley is on board as our depth forward, so we'll see if this guy could get a chance to win a Stanley Cup, considering he's only coming off of 1 season in the NHL at 29. Nedek Pozo has accepted, so that's kind of cool to see him flip from Montreal over to us. So we got ourselves a 3rd-string goaltender. Laura Kinan's accepted his RFA offer, which was just a 2-way deal, I'm pretty sure. Glebov has accepted, so there's a very nice one. He says that was a lucrative contract, so I guess Dallas wasn't really offering him that much. So there is a nice depth defenseman that we could honestly use as the top 6 eventually, if we really want to. So I do like that signing quite a bit, considering he's a young defenseman. And now the big one, obviously, we need to find out about Jokela's extension. And he decides to renew it with us. So Jokela is on board for the next, I guess, 7 seasons, technically, including this season. So I do like that. That was a decent offer, I think. Obviously, it does, we have some pretty big free agents this upcoming offseason. So we do have a lot of leeway in terms of what we end up doing. Recchi is the big one. Then there's also Sanders. So we might go through some drastic changes in the offseason ahead. Obviously, Ziska's even a UFA this upcoming offseason. So this might be one of the last chances a lot of these guys get to win a Stanley Cup with us before they end up changing teams. We do still have a couple of RFAs that are holding out. So I did want to sign Adamski on a 3-year deal. So I'm going to still try and get Adamski on a 3-year deal. Just because if we end up losing somebody big this next offseason, I want to have somebody decent for like the 2nd/3rd line. So we'll try and get him for $4 million still for 3 years. I know he didn't accept that last time, but I'm going to still try and get him for that. And then Spiller, we're going to keep as an RFA for now. I think eventually Spiller will play his way out of this team, but I'm not 100% sure with that. But yeah, I just want to see if Adamski will accept an extension already. He rejected the 3x4, okay. Okay, I see you there, Adamski. I'll try 4.25. I think it'd just be good to have him locked up, considering he's pretty much like a prototypical 2nd/3rd liner. He hasn't played that much in the NHL, so it's a bit of a risk, but we got to trust in some of these guys eventually too. So let's try 4.25. That should maybe get it done. We'll see if he wants that extra $250,000. And then once that is done, then we'll advance to the start of next season and get simulating. We're probably going to simulate half of the season this year, because I am very excited to see, obviously, what Vance does again, because Vance is a very exciting player. And look at that, Adamski has accepted that contract, so that's a decent contract, I'd say, considering he was a pending UFA, and if he has one really good year, he would probably head to the free agent market and demand like $7-8 million. So I like that contract. Let's begin the sim up to next season and see if we get Spiller to accept that RFA offer, so to speak. But yeah, I'm excited to see what this team does. And having a good playoff goaltender in the past like Nedek Pozo, I hope that if we do get to the playoffs, which more likely we do, hopefully he's the type of goaltender that could take us to that next level. in the playoffs at least. Obviously, I do hope that Howden plays really good in the playoffs, but if Howden doesn't, we need to have that fail-safe option in case. And Ned Okposo is almost like this franchise mode's version of Aiden Tays, so let's stop this simulation for a second so I can try and get a contract sent to Spiller because he's more than likely going to accept whatever we send him now. We also do have cap space, which is nice because of the fact we decided to get rid of Skula for dirt cheap, so we don't have to. We would be basically down to like only like $3 or $4 million, but instead, once we sign Spiller, we'll be down to like $12 million, which does give us some flexibility in terms of the trade deadline this upcoming year, which is nice. Wow, what the heck? Yeah, this is a weird trade offer. Another weird one of these weird offers. So they want basically a low top 9 and a 3rd round pick for 2 7th rounders. Like, tell me what the logic is behind this. I should actually send this exact screenshot to EA and ask them what type of offer is this. Because I honestly don't get it. Like, they see the low top 9 as negative value, and the fact that they could just take a 3rd rounder for 2 7ths doesn't make any logical sense. At least in my head. I think I'm gonna actually send that directly to EA right after this video. Right after I record this, because that is not the type of offer you'd normally see. Like, this one makes more sense, but obviously we're not going to bring in Korchinski, but still, it's just kind of weird trade logic in a sense sometimes with this game. Okay, let's go to edit lines here and set up our team for the upcoming season. So who is scratched? Kachuk should not be scratched. Definitely should not be. Glebov is going to be the depth defenseman. So Kachuk is up to an 81. That is really nice. We're going to put him here. We're going to put Spiller into the top 4 with Morris. And yeah, Del Monte and Kachuk have some good chemistry. They might be a future pairing for quite a long time. Howden and not Okposo. Okposo's dropped down to a 78 AHL starter, so this might be his last year in the NHL. We are going to definitely call up one of those goaltenders. Riley's a depth option. That's good. Gustafsson jumped to an 83. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's rework this a little bit around, but I do like the looks of this team. Yeah, this is looking good. Yep, that's good. That's basically what I think our forward core is going to look like. Obviously, some of these guys might complain about ice time, but we got to keep it like that. And then, yeah, Riley and Glebov is depth, and then we will call up the other goaltender, put him in as their backup, and Okposo will be a depth option in the NHL. Or I could send him to the AHL for now and then call him up later. Wow, Blackburn and Huey are both 80s. Blackburn actually goes through waivers, which is interesting. I just want to see if there's anybody else worth calling up in the AHL. Technically, Hutton and Kamachi are both ready, but I'm going to let them play a year in the AHL again. McNabb is almost ready. Same with Huxley, who we just brought in the Skula trade. Damn, Burrish and Brown are pretty much almost ready as well. Lorakainen technically should be up here as a depth forward, but I'm not going to do that yet. There is a lot of good talent down there too. Technically, every single one of these players, 77 and above, could be an NHLer. Huxley is listed actually as a 4th liner. Lorakainen's a depth forward, and then Kamachi and Hutton are top 6. I don't think Kamachi gets a chance with this team, so we might have to trade him at some point. So, yeah, with the addition of Glebov, it makes it a bit tough. Let's go to edit lines. We're going to go best lines in the AHL. I could honestly send Okposo down and use Lorakainen as a depth in the NHL for the time being, but I really don't know. Anybody scratch that shouldn't be. Odie Marchessault, low 4, and Corey, who's a low elite. Okay, so we should probably get Corey into the lineup. Laxo is also low elite though, right? Yeah. Corbet is not going to really reach that top 6 potential. I don't think, at least. I'm going to take out Nighty because Nighty's technically like the veteran guy. So we'll take him out. And I guess technically we'd take out Brunstrom as well, even though he's been there a long time. And I got to get Odie Marchessault into the lineup. So, and yeah, Huey and Tayupkin is down there in the AHL as well. And there is that. And I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it is good. We're going to take Ned out. Blackburn's going to be the backup. Yep, this is a good-looking team. Definitely as good-looking as the other years, but still. Sanders, Reefers, Corrado, Brunstrom, Vance. I'd kind of rather get... I'd kind of rather get Corrado off the first power play. And I would rather put in Jokela on this unit. Because I want Jokela to get a lot of points. So we want to give him as much of an opportunity to do as good as possible. Yeah, we'll put Recchi at the point on this unit. He's got decent enough shooting, so we'll put Recchi back there. And then, yeah, Corrado will go on the second power play unit instead with Kabanov, Zubris, and Spiller. I like that. Yeah, I think that's what we'll run with. Yep, at least Jokela is getting a lot of ice time. Is he getting penalty kill time too? Yes he is. Okay, good. There we go. We'll see how good Jokela adds this, makes his team. This team looks really good. I didn't expect Gustafsson to jump to an 83, really just ran like that, but I like it. Who's the better shooter? 3-star shooting. Oof. Technically, Martins, so Martins should be on his offside, so we'll move him over there instead. There we go. That's our team for the season. There is our team for the season, and now we're going to assimilate at least up to the halfway point of the year. And yeah, hopefully Asher Vance has another good season, and hopefully the addition of Jokela is really nice as well for this team, and hopefully that contract extension we gave him is worth that type of money. If not, like I said, eventually we could easily trade him away, I'd say, because everybody's going to be looking for defenders at some stage. Okay, let's get into this season and see what happens. Let's get through preseason, and then we're going to go to game 41, so a little bit early into January. And yeah, hopefully this team is playoff bound. More than likely we are. But the question is obviously how far of a playoff team are we going to get to? Are we going to be a second round exit again? Are we going to be a first round exit? Are we going to get to the conference finals? Or are we going to get a chance at a Stanley Cup? 5-2 in the preseason. Not too bad. Asher Vance, of course, leading the team in points. Holy crap, 13 goals in 7 preseason games. He probably murdered a bunch of young goaltenders. God damn. Okay, let's see what happens. We'll go 1 month at a time. See if we're able to string together a great start to the year, or if we're going to be kind of one of those teams that just barely make it into the playoffs because EA, and then we're going to win a Stanley Cup. Who knows? Let's go to November the 1st. We lose the first game of the season to Colorado 5-2. That's the team we made the trade with for Jokela, so that's kind of weird. And we lost 2 games in a row in a shootout. 3 games in a row in the shootout. What the heck is this? And then there is 3 straight wins after that. And then we lost. Brunstrom's already been injured. That's not good. And it's till November the 7th, so we'll just go replace player. I'll put Glebov in. And Kamachi was never injured in the AHL, and we lost that one. 3-2-4. What is this record? We lost 3 straight games in the shootout. We win 2 games. Then we won in a shootout. So 3 straight wins technically. Then we lost a game, and then we lost in overtime. We've been the extra frame quite a bit here in this early going. We've been to basically, we're technically, if we would have won those overtime and shootout games, we would have been 7-2 right now. But we're not finding ways to win in the extra frame, which is kind of weird. But let's go another month because I'm not really sold on how that was so far. But more than likely our team's going to find it all of a sudden because we should be a really good team. It just seems like sometimes you get off to really bad starts even with good teams, and then all of a sudden you do really well. Brunstrom is back. That's great to see because obviously he is our top defenseman. I don't know if I overpaid on him. I probably did, but I do like that I'm at least keeping him here as long as possible. He's already 32 as well, him and Vance. So they are getting closer to retirement age, him and Reefers as well. So there's like 3 guys that at least need to win at least 1 more Stanley Cup. So at least I hope. And we're getting a lot of trade offers, which is kind of annoying. But we have won 5 straight games to start this month, and now Kent Sanders has been injured. That's not good, but we'll go replace player. But yeah, this team's all of a sudden playing like the team that they should be. As I was just referring to. Wow, we've won every game this month so far. And Sanders is back from injury. So Riley was getting a chance to play on that top line, which is kind of cool considering that guy only played, like I said, 1 season in NHL, and he's already 30 years old, I think, at this point. Oh, no. Jokela has been injured with an injured knee. Out till December the 1st. We'll go replace player, but that kind of sucks. At least it's not too long term. And, yeah, that was an insane month for this team. Our only loss was in overtime that month. We are now 14-2-5, so that is much, much better. Wow. Let me advance in a little bit early into December just to see if we get our guy back. Yep, there you go. I wonder who's leading this team in points right now. It's likely Vance or Reefers, my guess, but who knows? Who knows? Hopefully the goaltending numbers are holding up as well. But so far we played 21 games, so we do another 20 more games. And we'll take a look at player stats and team stats so far halfway through the season. But liking the season quite a bit. We're winning a lot of games. So obviously those changes helped in the regular season, but realistically, who knows if they'll help in the playoffs, because literally we could win all the games we want in the regular season, but it doesn't mean we're going to win the Stanley Cup. So wasn't a little bit more games this month, but still doing really well, as Del Monte has been injured now until the end of the month. We'll go replace player. So Glebov at least is getting a lot of chance to play because of these injuries, but still I don't like the injuries at all. We'll take Glebov out, put Del Monte back in. Hopefully Del Monte and Tkachuk are doing really well, because I am very excited about that pairing. 23-6-6, so that's now 29-35 games. So we got 6 more games to do, so we'll do 4 all the way up to this game against Montreal. And then we'll take a look at our player stats. There's a lot more wins, damn. Yeah, we're on a historic pace, I think, this season for one of our best seasons yet. That's if we keep together. We just lost 2 in a row, though. 27-8-6 at the halfway point of the season. We don't even have 10 losses yet. We are the first best team in our division, up by 9 points on the Preds. And Azure Vance has 30 goals in 41 games. He's on pace for a 60-goal season. Exactly a 60-goal season. Doesn't look like anybody's running away with the points on our team, so we must have really good depth scoring. But, wow. Yeah, this is a good start to the year. We are the best team in the entire NHL by 5 points. The next closest team is the Canucks. And Dallas is 10 points back of us, and they won the Stanley Cup last year. So we're in a good spot, but at least we don't know how the playoffs are going to play out at all. Like, we might be a good regular season team right now, but honestly, playoff-wise, we could just get swept round 1, because I just know EA is going to be like that sometimes. But let's first take a look at our team stats, see what we're doing well so far, which is more than likely everything. And then we'll take a look at some player stats. So we are the best team in the NHL, as I mentioned, just up on the Canucks by 5 points. We are currently not the best offensive team in the NHL. We are 9th, which is good, but we are not the best offensive team, which I guess I'm okay with, because we don't necessarily need to be the best offensive team. We are more than likely the best defensive team, though, right? The second best defensive team. Only behind the Philadelphia Flyers, who I think they've won cups in this series, or maybe it was my other series, but yeah, Philly's a good team. But yeah, Philly's in less than 100 goals, and they've almost played halfway point to their season, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, we're a really good defensive team. Power play percentage-wise, our power play is not in the top 10, so that's probably why our offense is a little bit off, but that's okay. It might find itself in the second half of the season. And our penalty kill is not very good. It's kind of, yeah, it's not very good. That's kind of weird considering we're the best team in the league. You'd think it would be better. And the fact that we're one of the better defensive teams, you'd think our penalty kill would be better. 1 sec. Yeah, we're decently disciplined in terms of a team. Are we up there in shorthanded goals at all? No, we've only had 1 shorthanded goal so far this year. Our home record is amazing. That is a great home record. 17-1-2 at the halfway point of the year. We've only lost 1 game in regulation on home ice, and then the rest of the 7 losses in regulation came on the road. We're 10-7-4 on the road, so not as good on the road, but a dominant home team. So that's kind of interesting. Let's take a look at those player stats at the halfway point, see who's doing well and who's not. So yeah, Vance, we know, obviously is doing really well. 30 goals, 41 points. Not scoring as much power play goals. He's on pace for 10 power play goals, but he's not scoring as much considering he's on the wing. Reefers 37 points plus 24. I like that from Reefers. Not a surprise though. He's pretty good. Yeah, him and Vance are probably the guys that are closest to retirement. Reefers especially. Kabanov's having another good year. Glad I locked him up. 30 points, 41 games. It's a bit of an expensive contract, but he's living up to it. Adamski's got 17 points. I might have overpaid on Adamski. Then again, he isn't getting power play time, so eventually he'll be able to get power play time, but that's not good. He's on pace for like 34 points and making $4 million bucks. Might be an overpayment. We might have to trade him away if he doesn't live up to expectations. Martin 16 points, pretty solid. Ziska 13 points, -1 only. And then Riley's got an assist in 2 games. Bales has got 19 points. He is a pending UFA, I believe, as well this season. Yeah, there's a lot of contracts up for renewal. Gustafson 15 points. Not too bad. This is his first season? Yeah, his first season in the NHL. He played a little bit last year in the playoffs and was actually decent too, so he's having a good rookie campaign so far. And yeah, he's jumped up to an 84 overall. I don't know if that's a lot of statistical growth, but this guy might be legit a solid replacement on the top 6 for Recchi. More than likely. Only 2 penalty minutes as well. He's very disciplined. Right wing wise, Sanders has been great. 36 points in 39 games. We're obviously going to have to sign him in the offseason, and he might be expensive, so he might want to leave, but he's been a good addition. Very good addition. Recchi, 31 points. He's pending UFA again. He might head to the free agent market if we can't afford him. Corrado's been great as well. Zubris has been fantastic. He's getting power play time, so that kind of makes sense, but Zubris has been actually pretty good. He almost has as much points as he did last year. So that is definitely a positive. So some good stats, actually, in terms of depth scoring. Like, it's not one guy running away with it on the forward core. Lowest point totals for 41 games is Ziska, and he's getting pretty much his 4th line ice time. So defensively, though, Jokel is leading the team in points defensively with 27 points. See, he's outperforming Brunstrom, and he's much lower of an overall, and he's not even an elite defenseman, technically. Yeah, Jokel was a great add. Obviously, he's not point per game, which is kind of weird, but actually it's not really weird, but he's been a really good defender. He's pretty much the exact thing we needed on this team. Len Morris playing great defensively. Del Monte so far, 12 points and +5, not bad for the rookie. He's listed as a top 4, which is kind of concerning. Is he liking his ice time? No, he's not. Oh, man, that's not good. Spiller's been good. Also, +16. Actually, no, Spiller has not been good. Why does he only have 7 points? He's on the power play, too. He had 34 points last year. That's why I didn't sign him long-term, because he's only on pace for a 14-point season. Yikes. Kachuk has been solid. Not the best defensively, but still solid enough. And Glebov, 2 points. We head to the goaltenders. Howden's been good, as usual. He's probably on pace to win a Vezina. A .915 save percentage, 2.51, and a 22 4-4 record. And in Blackburn as a backup has not been as good, but I mean, he's a young rookie goaltender, so he's not going to have an insane year to start off with. He's 24. I don't know how long term this guy's going to be with us, but he's doing okay. Let's take a look at player stats around the league at the halfway point as well. And then that'll be it, I think, for this episode, because I don't know if we're going to actually need to make any trades next episode, so I might not even really look at the block. I think I am going to still look at the block, but I don't think there's any use for making trades. Sylvain Parks is the best player in the league right now with 64 points. So Montreal's still doing really well. And also Lou Manlow. Shane Wright up there. Gene Ross. Best goal scorer so far is Parks and Menino with 34 apiece. But Vance is number 4. Only behind him, Baumgartner, Menino, and Parks. So there is a chance Vance could win the Richard this year. Jacina's having a little bit of a down year, considering this guy was just insane the other year. Like, he had 72 goals a few years ago. Only on pace for 54 this year. So there is any good Selke candidates right now, like his Reefer's up there potentially for a Selke. Let's see. Connor Bedard likely. Robichaud. Yeah, Robichaud is likely to win it again. He's just really good. What about defensively? What's the best defenseman so far? Christensen in the New York Islanders with 40 points in 38 games. Damn. Langlois, who I was looking at trading for last episode, 30 points this season. He's on pace for 60 or just below 60 points, so he kind of fell off a little bit. But Jokela is like literally just a little bit behind him. See, Jokela is performing almost as good as Langlois. And he's way lower overall. He was cheaper value-wise too. So I do like that a lot. Goalie-wise, the best goalie so far, Vig Zeeler in terms of wins. But in terms of save percentage by a starting goaltender, Tom Moran's with a 917 and Aiden Howden up there for potentially another Vezina with a 915. He might be the goaltender that I have that's won the most Vezinas almost at this point because he's just been that good. Yeah, he might honestly win another Vezina this year if he keeps it up. He might have a terrible second half, who knows, but he's been so good. Wow, Zeeler's already got 3 assists. No goalie goals. Best rookie so far, Jamie Morrow, who was the 17th overall pick. And then that's pretty much it. Nobody up there for us rookie-wise. So there is that final thing. Let's take a quick look at the trading block because this episode's already kind of running a little bit longer than I was expecting. Let's just take a look and see if there's anything out there. But I honestly don't think we need to make trades. But if we want to, Mason McTavish is out there. Gunderson, don't need a goaltender though. Nothing there. Gortz, just a depth goaltender, but we already have a Pozo for the playoffs. Nash, kind of just a future player, same as Fedberg. Nothing there, nothing there. Long Eye, kind of getting overpaid. Del Zotto, more of a depth defenseman. Whiting, not really that bad, but he's already signed for 2 more years still, or 1 more year after this. He's not a bad player, kind of as like a grindy 4th line option, but we don't really need that. So we got a good amount of depth already on this team. Moses getting signed for too much term already and money. Yeah, I don't really know if we're going to need to make a trade. There's Dundas. When was this guy drafted? 5th overall, and you already put him on the block at 21. That's definitely a choice there, Edmonton. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much out there. There's a lot of depth options out there if we wanted to make our depth even better, but with the guys in the minors, I don't think it's necessary for us to bring in more depth. Because there's a lot of guys that should be like almost NHL ready, like Burrish, for example. Burrish might be able to be an 80 overall by the end of the year, and we could easily call him up in the playoffs. Sillinger, Sugihara, Day. What's Day's first name out of curiosity? Dalton. Interesting. William Eklund, Panaye. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot, but if you guys see something I'm kind of missing or something I did call out, let me know. This guy's an RFA and he's holding out still. Damn. He's going to miss the entire year. Wow, San Jose is kind of in a weird spot. I actually have a lot of RFAs holding out. What the heck? Tennell as well. And Collins. Do they not have the cap space? They must not have the cap space. I'm going to take a look at San Jose for a little bit after this, just because I'm curious on that. Brossoit is really solid, but we have no room for this guy on our roster. He's got huge trade value as well, but we would be able to probably make a trade for him, but the cap situation would be going crazy. You're signed for too long. Yeah, I definitely got to take a look at San Jose because they must be like not doing too well with the cap situation, and that's why they can't sign those RFAs. And that is pretty much it for the trading block. Let's take a quick look at San Jose's cap situation because I do want to see what this is looking like. They must have signed Jacina to a big-ass contract. They didn't sign him to an outrageous contract, but they only have $370,000 in cap space. Oh my goodness. This is like Lou Lamoriello-esque. What the heck? Wow. So yeah, they're paying a lot of money to McKenna, Jacina, Lieb is getting paid, Benson's getting paid, Kovacs, Erat, Burkov, Wiseman. A lot of guys signed in the next season. They can't even pay their RFAs because that they're also at 50 out of 50 contracts. But they can't even sign these guys. Which is unfortunate because they're technically NHL players, but they can't sign them. That is crazy. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we might make trades if you guys think we should. We'll also simulate the rest of the regular season. we'll see where we finish and how Vance finishes off the season. But this team is definitely going to make it back to the playoffs. It's just all about where we actually make it in the postseason. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.